know also that people are watching online. So there are people tuning in from different parts of Europe and other parts of the world because they also want to participate. So it's a very special occasion, and we're very grateful to see everyone. It's so amazing to see so many people from so many parts of the world. You truly get an idea of humanity being one family, and this sense of one family embraced by God, right? Embraced by a loving Creator. We have a special honor of having Reverend David Dr. Hanna to speak to us today to give the first presentation. David is someone, I think most of you have seen David before, but maybe I know that there are some people maybe not. So Reverend Dr. David Hanna, we usually see him together with his wife, is Kyunja Hanna, who is from Korea. And David and Kyunja have very different personalities, but they have amazing complementarity. Kyunja is full of passion, full of activity, and I remember going into the island center one time, and I ran into Kyunja, and she was busily weeding. She hadn't been there for a long time, and she saw all these weeds in the garden. She was so busy weeding. And then I went into another room, and I saw David there, and he was sitting, contemplating, reflecting on what to say, how to say it, how to change this, or how to change that to make it more appropriate or more accurate. So you can see their characters, that they work so well together. And there's some, is it 5 lovely children? A number of grandchildren? 6. So, amazing family. So please welcome up Reverend Dr. David Hanna.
Good afternoon, everybody. So nice to see you all. Thank you for coming today. We're celebrating together this UN International Day of Families. And how wonderful that I see some families in the audience. They're really beautiful. So today, I think it's a bit of applied psychology going on here, because you start with the lecture bit, which is me, and it's kind of back to school, and but all the fun stuff comes later, right? So you'll feel really elated by the time that you go home. So thank you for giving up your Saturday afternoons, which are very precious, aren't they? Right? Really have to think what to do on a Saturday afternoon, and you chose to come here, so that's very meaningful. I've entitled my little talk here, A Blessing for the World, and we're talking about this blessing movement and blessed family movement, which is really taking place in so many countries around the world. It's a growing phenomenon, and we want to introduce that to you and encourage you to be very much part of it. Also, we'll be sharing and inviting you to participate in this very simple marriage blessing for those of you who are married. And thereby we're really celebrating and being involved. And I know some of you have come from, there's a little town, a little city, a little bit north of here called Birmingham. Anybody from Birmingham? Whoa! Amazing, right? And even we have somebody from Sydney, Australia here. I think probably you've come the furthest, Dr. Wally, right? He'll be talking to us later, right? So, wow. Yeah, just relax and enjoy, everybody. It's a wonderful way to get together and to think about these important things. Well, I've got some pictures for you, so I want your help to identify some weddings of different faiths. And this is good for the children especially, if you can contribute. What do you think this is? What kind of wedding? Jewish wedding taking place under the chuppah is kind of symbolic of the marital home, and beautiful ceremony and various parts to it which have a lot of meaning. You'll find these wedding ceremonies, they have lots of symbolism in various aspects and very beautiful long-standing traditions. And how about this one, would you say? Indian, certainly Indian. Faith is maybe not so clear, but this could be a Muslim couple in prayer, or I've got another, I think from Indonesia, young married, maybe just married, I think, and they're out for a walk to take some pictures. It's rather lovely, isn't it? Eh? So, and here from Hindu culture, we have very elaborate weddings, right? Anybody used to that or been to a Hindu wedding? Then that's quite amazing. My son was just there. He has a friend from college days in India who invited my son, younger son and wife, to India for the wedding of his sister. I think he's quite wealthy, actually. I'm sorry. So he paid for their trip, and the first thing they had to do was to be fitted for 7 sets of clothing each, because they were going to need this at various points along the few days, right? Quite extraordinary. And, they didn't know really what was happening to them. But, hey, that's because it's important, right? And if you can do it, that's wonderful. So here's the bride coming in a Hindu wedding, and there are various traditions about taking 7 steps and symbolizing 7 promises, and beautiful traditions here, husband and wife. Their scarves tied together in a knot, so tying the knot there and becoming, all symbolism of how we want to really stay united together. And it's like these 2 families coming together to be one, which is quite a challenge. Also, I had very beautiful memories of a Sikh wedding. Couple really showing devotion to God first of all, to Waheguru and to the Adi Granth Sahib, and conducting the ceremony in front of that holy place. And very beautiful support with chanting and lots of merriment as well. Okay, so I'm not going to be able to include everybody's religious tradition, right? So you have to excuse me. I just chosen a few, right? So if yours is not there, don't worry. But send me some good pictures and I'll get them in next time, right? Here's an Orthodox church wedding. And you'll see that their husband and wife, or bride and groom, are sharing a cup of wine. That's an interesting thing. We'll be doing something similar with some non-alcoholic, we say nectar, later on. But look what's over their heads. Do you see that, children? Some crowns. So for this day at least, they're like king and queen. What a beautiful notion, right? And there they are. That's the kind of royal kind of blessing, a blessing of God on husband and wife as king and queen, and coming together to start their married life in that way. And here's a more traditional Christian wedding, I think probably American Baptist wedding, I'm not sure. But I'm not too worried with these. Just let's enjoy the beautiful photos and the way in which people do things, very similar things, but also in their own different way, different cultural nuances and practices. But it's all for the same wonderful purpose. And that's what we're here to celebrate today. So why I start by showing you these is that it really is the world-level religious traditions. These are very ancient sources of wisdom for us and guidance for family life and for society. They are upholding marriage, and they're emphasizing 2 things. One is purity before marriage. I'm going to devote my love to that person, an eternal partner, that person comes along. And fidelity in marriage, that means I'm going to make a vow to stay together. And in the Christian service, it talks about for better or worse, for richer or poorer, for, it's we don't know what's going to happen in life, right? But it's like saying in a very beautiful way, we're saying we're in this together, right? And if one person is sick, well, I'll look after that person and go forward that way together. So they all uphold the value of marriage in our society, and they're supporting the young couple at the center of these traditions in a way of coming together, and that's like lineages coming together. So two families or family lines marrying, and that's, that has its challenges, right? I was in a family wedding in Korea. As Robin said, my wife is from Korea. So my wife's sister's son was getting married, and I was surprised. When you went into the hotel, it all took place in a hotel, actually, around round tables. And the bride's family was all over this side, and the groom's family all over this side, and they never spoke to each other because it was felt it's best if we keep them apart. It's the safest. Sorry, I can say that because my wife isn't here. So I'm getting away with it, right? But no, this is a coming together of families and very, very meaningful. So marriage lays a foundation, we can say, for the family, and which is like in a home or a sacred space, a domestic sacred space, you can say, headed by nuptial priests, and these become the parents when they receive the gift of a child. So please understand, in the things which I'm saying now and going to be saying in the rest of my talk, I acknowledge that the ideal of marriage and family, as I'm expressing it, it's not possible for everyone. Right? And it may not even apply to you. Some people make different choices, and for some people, life just works out differently. Right? So please understand, I'm talking about some kind of notion of revisiting the kind of original value of marriage and family, and thinking about that again in our modern context, and thinking how worthwhile and valuable it will be given its International Day of Families. So the importance here, I think, is that we reevaluate this meaning and value of marriage and family in a society which, from a lot of the things that you see and hear about, seems very eager to reject these traditions. And it's interesting here, through these references which we had in picture form, that there's a common approach in the world's religious traditions. And that has been feeding into our society and the stability of our various societies. So we should be thankful for that, I believe, right? So when we look at what we call in UPF our principles of peace, or in the Family Federation, we sometimes call these the three great blessings, we see that God had a plan for our first human ancestors, like for human beings. This is really the kind of original ideal, is that an individual can become spiritually mature or perfect, a person of true love in whom the Spirit of God is dwelling, and then such a man and such a woman can marry together under God's blessing and inherit the true love of God, and then from that family extend it out through the next generation and subsequent generations. How wonderful this is, kind of developing one lineage. So when we say like one family under God as being a goal, really that should have been our original path as human beings. Did you ever think about that? Yes, if something hadn't gone wrong, we would be one family and we would be united in that expression of love. And then the third circle there, one on the right, indicates our kind of relationship between people and all the rest of creation, the things in this world, which we need to use effectively and responsibly for the good of everybody. This is engaging with our environment and, in a good way, dominating the natural world and through science and technology and other things. So it's a world where human beings and nature are really in harmony. I'm going to look particularly at the middle one here, right? Because that's marriage and family. And that, in our UPF standard kind of principles that we are sharing, we call that a foundation for lasting peace and happiness and peace in human society. It's related to the family, and that's a very important aspect of UPF, connecting the family with the goal and the notion of world peace, and saying really we can't have world peace without such a revival of marriage and family and putting that in its proper place. So that's why I'm exploring this little idea today. So I'm saying God here, but if somebody's not comfortable with that, we can call it like coming together centering on a higher purpose, or even kind of shared values, important higher values which we agree upon. And then husband and wife united around that, or through their life of faith, according to whatever tradition they are in, can unite together and become an image of God in this way. So God is the origin of the masculine and origin of the feminine. Everything comes from God in that sense, or from the Creator. And then when husband and wife relate together in love and develop and create that bond, they become one and a more substantial image of God than just husband on his own or wife on her own. This is the idea which is emphasized. But not only that, when they have children, of course, that's the magic moment when they become parents, right? You can't be a parent without that. So when that blessing comes, then the family becomes this beautiful unit in which kind of 12 different relationships are operating. Even if there's just one child, there are 12 different relationships, and they have different qualities to them as well. So parents love their children with a certain quality of love, and husband and wife have, and wife for husband, husband for wife have their qualities of love as well. And that's a more exclusive love, which is just for them. So love takes different forms in this way, but it's all part of this ideal of true love, which should be multiplied, actually, out into society and into the nation and eventually into the world. So this is why we say that the family is like the building block of that ideal which we're seeking to reach. In certain religious traditions, you might call it the kingdom of heaven or some other expression. What is that ideal world? Well, the fundamental building block is this family unit. Are you with me? Yes. Whoa, right? So that's why it's important, even if it doesn't match like my own experience identically, but it's still important to realize that is fundamental for the human journey. The family is the building block. And as I said, in this unit are four great loves. They're experienced and they're learnt within the family. The first is children's love of parents. You're growing up to experience this expanding range of relationships and things that you can do and things that you can learn from those parents in your life become very, very important to you. And there's siblings' love. When you have a brother or sister, elder or younger, then this is learning something else about how to relate to people and to your peers and to those who are slightly older or younger than yourself. And there's also this idea of spouses' love, and also parents' love. So Father Moon, our founder, both of Universal Peace Federation and of the Family Federation for World Peace, which is kind of also jointly running this program today, he called these the 4 great realms of heart. Isn't that beautiful? I like that expression. And he also talked about the 3 great kingships. What could that mean in the family? Kingships. It takes me back to that picture of the Orthodox wedding, actually, right? It's saying that everybody in the family is like royal family. That means the kingships are grandparent, parent, and children. Kingships, right? And that means queenships as well, right? So that's a very beautiful idea. Here is a quote from our founder. He said, "In the family, there are 4 levels: grandfather and grandmother, father and mother, you and your spouse, and your sons and daughters." Again, not every family has that, right? But you understand my kind of going this direction. The world is the extension of these relationships. Thus, you need to love the people of the world whose ages are similar to the people in your family in the same way you love your family members. So you really love your grandmother and has a special relationship with the grandparents. That means as you've grown up and now you're leaving the kind of nest of the family home, you're going into the wider world, maybe seeking employment or at university or something, and you come across an elderly person on your travels, elderly man, elderly woman. Treat them as if they were your grandfather or your grandmother. Have that level of respect and love. They're probably somebody's grandmother or grandfather, right? But this simple way of kind of extending a heart of true love is a potential to end so many social problems and social difficulties, isn't it, right? Yes. So this is why in both Family Federation and Universal Peace Federation, we come down often back to talking about love and its qualities, right? And with no shame, right? I'm going to talk a lot about love from now on, right? So where do we learn what I'm calling true love? And I'll define that a little bit further down as we do these. Where do we learn true love? Well, we've already had that indication. It's from our parents. They're like our first teachers. And the family we can call the school of love. It's where we get nurtured in terms of heart and character. And it's a primary training ground for the relationships which we're going to have to develop and sustain in our future life. So this is where we're learning, and it's a very safe place to learn, right? We can make mistakes, and we're still loved, and we feel that love, and we get good guidance on the spot, and we get a good example, ideally, right? We get a good example from those around us, and that is really better than any teaching by words or by lecture or diagrams or all the things I'm doing today, right? Example is the best, and that's the idea of the family as a school of love. And where do we learn this love? It's in relating to brothers and sisters, and as we said, to parents and grandparents as well, those 3 great kingships. And the family becomes then the school for morality, the basis of norms in society, how I'm going to behave and how I'm going to properly conduct myself, and parents are making effort to pass this on. I'm sure everybody in the room who's a parent is doing that or has done that, right? And even if you're in a kind of surrogate parent way, maybe you're a teacher who's in loco parentis, right? Still, you should have that heart and mind to care and love for those under your tutelage. So this is a wonderful kind of means. And I'm not sure when or where to say that, but maybe I'll say it now. The family is not a kind of social construct that you can just accept or reject, right? It's not a kind of idea whose time has passed and we're on to trying some new modern things, right? No, it goes back to the very beginning. This is part of our humanity, actually. And it's extremely important for that reason. And some people say, it's a nice expression, it's the only institution ordained by God, right? So nothing else is in that category. So where do we learn true, genuine love? It's as husband and wife, and as that relationship grows and develops, we see God in our partner, in the other. And it's often things which surprise me. I have a little expression that true love always surprises, right? It has that kind of notion to it. Maybe your partner or your wife or husband does something for you, and it really surprises you. You think, oh, you did that for me? I never expected that, right? Oh, where did that come from? And, it lifts you out from wherever you are, whatever space you're in. It's just kind of so touching and so wonderful, right? And it can continually do that, actually, when we're exercising true love. And a couple that's loving each other in this way become an image of the Creator. They're living for each other and the family and the wider world, and they become a model of this thing we're calling true love to their children. And then such a strong family, where it can go through this process, should also have a focus that is higher than itself. To be honest, sometimes if your own family is just your goal and your purpose for existence, then that's a kind of self-centered boundary, isn't it? We're not going beyond that. So part of what parents need to teach their children is going beyond the family and showing that actually we're here to be part of a wider community, to help others, to live, as we say, for the sake of others, to have some altruistic purpose in serving the community. So strong families should have a focus just higher than themselves. It's a big ask, of course, because, sometimes just making it through and existing is difficult, right? And we have lots of challenges in life, totally understand that. But still, this kind of mind and this heart is something that we can convey to the next generation. Is life, I'm painting quite a rosy picture here, right, of marriage and family. But Father Moon said, and I have a little quotation from a 1995 speech called Religion and the Ideal World. He said, what is the reality of our world today? Disorder and sickness of every kind, including war, violence, and drug abuse, have infected humankind. More importantly, the rapid collapse of sexual morality among the young, the increasing divorce rate, the breakdown of the family are all destroying the foundation of human society. All these things originate from what he calls the fall, in line with many other religious traditions, or something that went wrong in the beginning in our fundamental starting out as a human family. So we have to go back to that, and we have to correct it, right? So this is the reality of the human condition, and if you can remember those three circles which I showed you before, that kind of individual, family, and relationship to the rest of the environment, well, it's a similar pattern has evolved, but centering more on evil influences. And we haven't put God at the center, or that true love at the center. So we have a tradition whereby spiritually immature people of kind of self-centered love, yes, they grow physically to an age when they want to marry, but they bring that immature self into the marriage environment. Whether it's realized in the beginning or not, it's there. And therefore, their kind of personal problems pass into the marriage and family relationships. And that's the seeds of some kind of difficulties later on. Does that make sense? We haven't always emphasized the kind of importance of really preparing yourself for for this great kind of transition from living as an individual and living well as an individual, but then going on to the next stage of sharing that, losing some of my individuality in exchange for something much greater, to be part of this greater whole and to raise a family. And so also we see that that means greed and self-interest have dominated our kind of relationship with the environment and the creation, and we've engaged in a lot of abuse of the world in that way and created imbalance and a lack of harmony. So that's the things that we're trying to address. People from different angles are trying to address it through their politics or ideology or efforts or charitable ventures or all kinds of things. Here, in terms of ideas, this movement is trying to go back to the origin and bring something very important, God's blessing, back to not only ourselves as individuals, but ourselves as couples and our families. So there was another speech from our founder, which I won't read it this time, but he starts by asking a question. He said, which is easier, to create a new apple? Is it easier to create a new apple or to take a rotten apple and make it whole again? Now, that's an interesting question, isn't it, right? I'll leave you to ponder that, right? Because actually, making a new apple is very difficult. I don't know anybody who can do that, really, from scratch. I think it was an old Carl Sagan quote, right? In response to the question, how do you make an apple pie? And he said, well, first start with the universe, right? Because without that, you're not going to be able to do it, right? So, but Father Moon here was saying, yes, creating is a miracle. It's a beautiful, miraculous world out there, including apples on trees, right, which we can enjoy. But nature goes a certain way. There's nothing in nature whereby, a rotten apple that's on the ground already can be made whole again. It just doesn't work like that. But the situation for humankind, if we think of the Creator's point of view, is there's something rotten at our core, but it's not easy to solve that, actually. And that has been the kind of life work, really, of Father and Mother Moon, and lies a kind of deeper reason behind the tradition of blessing and blessing of marriages, as we're talking about it. When they describe this blessing of marriage, they use a metaphor, which is that of grafting. Anybody good with fruit trees here? Develop your own fruit trees, right? So you don't, as you know, plant new trees from seed. You revert to some early ancestor of the apple that you were enjoying, for example, if it's an apple tree. Rather, what is very common is you take a tree that's not producing very good fruit. Nobody wants to eat it, but it's got a good trunk and a good root system. And then you cut it off. Quite brutal, isn't it? You cut it off, and then you make this splice, and you put into it these two scions, as we call them. So you have a rootstock, and you implant or engraft two scions, which are little cuttings from a tree which produces good fruit. And taking those little cuttings isn't going to damage the tree, right? But you pop them in, and this is the quickest way. It's bound and watered and grows to produce good fruit on a solid basis, right? And when that good fruit comes, nobody says, oh, I'm not going to eat that. Once it was a tree that produced bad fruit, right? I don't want to have that one. No, you forget about that, right? So this is how he is using a kind of metaphor to express and develop our metaphors on the kind of salvation process, or how to put things right that are wrong in the world. It's difficult, right? no surprise to us working in UPF. Putting things right is very difficult, but we do have to go back to the origin. So I've talked a little bit about true love. Is an expression that comes from Father and Mother Moon. They talk about true love, but what does that mean? It's not a kind of Disney type of, prince and princess, no, it's really something we have to think about very seriously and practically. True, genuine love. Certainly Father Moon, I think, talked about it more than any other human being. And one definition of that, coming from his speeches, it's a deep and selfless love that seeks the well-being and happiness of others above oneself. That is seen as a divine and transformative force that has the power to heal relationships, communities, and the world at large. This is true love, right? I introduce it to you, right? I'm sure you know it already, right? But that's the importance of this thing I'm calling true love. And another expression of that, it comes from an American psychologist, this is Greg Bear, says, unconditionally caring about the happiness of another person. True, genuine love is unconditionally caring about the happiness of another person. And from Scott Peck, who's again, American psychologist, said, true, genuine love is the will to extend oneself for the purpose of nurturing one's own or another's spiritual growth. Yeah, that takes some thinking about, but it covers more situations, perhaps, than some of the other definitions. Right? So that's true love. But what are we often dealing with in this world? And what is more like the kind of tradition which has been passed on? Unfortunately, despite people's best efforts, it's often something which we would call conditional love, or false, or even imitation love. It's not the real thing. That is always has some element to it, which is like, I care how you make me feel. It's all kind of coming back to me. This is, again, from Greg Bear's interesting person. And I was quite struck when I read his book because I felt very judged, right? I felt very judged because he said, do you ever feel irritated? Oh, no, never feel irritated, right? Nobody ever irritates me. Anybody get that problem? Of course, yes, we feel irritated by somebody. And he said, well, irritation is just a very kind of lesser form of anger, and that means you're not exercising true love yourself. You feel irritated, in a way it's your fault, right? Because you're not loving the other person with a heart of true love that cares about their happiness. You might have to go to them and correct them and express, what it is that they're doing wrong, which can be an irritation to people, but that's a loving way to deal with it. Just to kind of feel irritated and then go and tell somebody else about how irritating that person is and, I don't want to work with that person and this, and you multiply. No, that's not the way to do it, right? That's a kind of false response. Other people are thinking about this. I'm going to throw in a quotation here from Eckhart Tolle. Anybody come across Eckhart Tolle in your reading? Interesting person. And he writes here, what is commonly called falling in love is in most cases, not every case. Personally, I think when my parents fell in love, they did exactly the right thing, right? And I'm so grateful that they did. But, and I'm sure it's very beautiful. But often in the kind of world of so-called romantic relationships, or sometimes serial relationships, right? Called falling in love is, in most cases, he says, an intensification of self-centered wanting and needing. You become addicted to another person, or rather to your image of that person. It has nothing to do with true love, which contains no wanting whatsoever. Well, an interesting thought. People looking at kind of what is the root of this problem. Our society is rejecting traditional moral values at a pace and becoming more materialistic and seeking pleasure just for the self. If we do that, it's a path that leads ultimately to destruction and doesn't lead to the happiness that we're seeking. That's the irony about it. Anyhow, let's talk about Margaret Ali's favorite topic. Living for others, right? Here's a biblical quotation from the Gospel of Luke. Whoever seeks to gain his life will lose it, but whoever loses his life will preserve it or gain it. A little bit of a kind of teaser there in this quotation. It means, if you're just trying to cling on to your life for your happiness, it's going to wither away and come to nothing. But if you're giving, love is the only thing which you give and it never diminishes, right? It returns in abundance. Or here in the Holy Quran, it says, do not expect in giving any increase for yourself. It's the expectation shouldn't be there. It's just kind of without any agenda. I'm doing this for the other person. How beautiful is that as a concept and a maxim to live by? Or in Hinduism, from the Bhagavad Gita, of sacrifices, the sacrifice performed by those who desire no reward is the nature of goodness. Ooh. And Sikhism, again, I apologize, I can't do something from every tradition, right? So if yours is not here, please understand. Sikhism, what is that love which is based on greed? When there is greed, the love is false. That's the false love, right? So people have arrived at this conclusion a long time ago. As they say, sometimes nothing in religion is new, right? Because these deep truths have been shared in the wisdom of the ages, but we still can forget them and neglect them, so we need to be reminded. Our founders, Father and Mother Moon, they started their ministry, of course, in very humble circumstances in South Korea. It was recently out of a desperate war situation and became a divided country between the communist North and the democratic South. And in the midst of that, they instituted this peace blessing, this marriage blessing amongst their followers or disciples, and the World Peace Blessing movement really started there with their own wedding in 1960. There were at the same time 36 couples blessed from those who were following and learning from their teaching and devoting their lives into this particular path. So that's already quite an achievement by that time to have that kind of following. But then some were married couples, so they received the blessing. Some were single individuals, and they were found the most suitable partner, which is wonderful. And all received the blessing. This is one group of 12, but there were 3 lots of 12 couples. That expanded. What year were we there? 1960? By 1992, we have this one, which is 30,000 couples in the Olympic Stadium in Seoul, Korea. It was built for the Olympics in '88, right? And included many couples around the world by satellite as well in different countries. So, yes, if you see those little white dots, those are women in wedding dresses. And the black dots are men in either black or blue suits. And that's quite something, isn't it? People receiving a blessing on their marriage and renewal of their vows. For many people, it was their wedding day. They had waited for this wedding day to join with others and celebrate together to make a public demonstration to uphold this importance of family and marriage. So wonderful. And this was officiated, of course, by, Father and Mother Moon, but also by co-officiators from the world's religions, from Buddhism, from Sikhism, Islam, Native American, Hindu, Christian. They're adding their blessing and their prayer to all these couples. Isn't that beautiful?
Very.
and people coming from different religious traditions. So Father Moon had such ambition in this, as does Mother Moon. She has an ambition to bring this blessing to at least, wait for it, 1/3 of the world's population, right? Ideally everybody, but, you know, if we could do 1/3, then that's going to act, isn't it? So you're part of that today, actually, right? So here is one which, a blessing ceremony, which took place in the United Nations building in New York. Now, that should have no religious ceremony, so don't pass it out of this room, right? They don't allow any religious ceremony. So, well, we want brides and grooms there, so what did Father Moon suggest? He said, well, let them all come in their national costume, right? And they were from many different nations, so how beautiful. They are there and all dressed up in their national costumes. I don't know what the British would do for that. We're a bit stuck, aren't we? Morris dancing or something? Anyway, here's another one, the beautiful blessing in the campus of Sun Moon University, and involving many ambassadors for peace from UPF, and also to renew their wedding vows. Here's a couple from Sweden, already interracial couple, so it's very beautiful. And these, you know, there's a notoriety behind these so-called mass weddings or large weddings, isn't it? There's a beautiful experience when you go there. I mean, my own was in Madison Square Garden, you know, in New York, 2,075 couples. Amazing. And I thought I would just be lost in the crowd, but it was extremely personal and profound experience, actually, and beautiful to share with others. Here's Mother Moon, since Father Moon's passing, still continuing this tradition apace, really, and this is in the largest football stadium in Johannesburg in South Africa, right, with couples coming forward to receive this blessing. So finally, I just want to take the last few minutes to talk about the blessing ceremony, and then we're going to invite you to participate in a kind of reduced kind of version of that. So today can be experiential as well as just me nattering away from the podium, right? It's much better, right? So the blessing ceremony has certain, preparedness, especially couples who are making this their wedding day. And we can think of these two large groups, those for whom it is their marriage and their wedding, and those who, and they've been preparing a long time for that, and those who are seeking to renew their wedding vows from whatever tradition they come, and it can be a chance to do that. And many people, as you know, in different ceremonies are choosing to do that in various traditions. And I think it's a very worthy thing, just to remember what we have in terms of blessings. So certain conditions are expected, a determination to respect one's spouse, certainly, and keeping one's love pure, a determination of husband and wife to be faithful to each other, that's renewing that commitment, and a heart to become a true parent as well, to have that heart of love, not only to your own children, but to others, and a heart for living for the sake of others. And there are certain components, blessing ceremonies, like I say, not one we'll do today, or we'll do in a kind of symbolic way, maybe. The first is, we say, the Holy Nectar ceremony, which is symbolizing kind of coming back to God's lineage, God's family. And that is kind of by becoming one in terms of changing one's false lineage to a true lineage. This kind of idea is a very beautiful idea. And for husband and wife includes sharing a cup of juice together, right? So half and half, and then thereby kind of renewing the bond. There's also a little ceremony to dissolve historical resentment, and our Pastor William Haynes will lead us through this, actually, and explain this probably more than I can do. So this is there to symbolically heal past resentments, even if I don't have it with my wife or husband, or between us, still you can be sure that somewhere, a little way back in our ancestry, there are people husbands who mistreated their wives, or maybe vice versa. It's going to be that way, isn't it, right? And no lineage is entirely free of those problems. So it's like saying, well, all that stops now with me or with our relationship. We make a break, we put that behind us, and we'll never use violence or these kind of ways of hurting people, even just through words. The blessing ceremony itself, which is more than we can provide here today, but it's a very joyous, very beautiful thing. You see all the streamers and balloons coming down, and now it's a very lively and spirit-filled and music-filled event if you go to one of these. In the ceremony itself, there's a purification aspect of sprinkling with holy water, of reciting the wedding vows together and exchanging rings. I don't think we'll be doing that today, but no, again, for a couple, it's very meaningful if it's their marriage. If it's renewing vows, you can take off the ring and then give it back to your wife or give it back to your husband and saying, it's like all over again. I'm marrying you, right? And there's a blessing prayer as well, which is, God's blessing coming down on that. Today, we'll ask you to say a couple of blessing vows. And, people are joining today who are single, some because they're young and some because they're single, they're not married, or they're not here with their spouse. They're different things, different situations. But if you're single, and everybody, whether single or married, can say, and I hope you'll agree to this, I promise to do my utmost to develop a heart of true unconditional love and to live in harmony with the highest ideals, values, and virtues of my own faith tradition. Give you a little time to think about that. And then to all who are here as couples, or if you're married but your spouse is not here, as a couple we promise to be eternally faithful to one another, to raise any children entrusted to our care to be people of integrity, and to extend heaven's blessing to our community and nation, contributing to the creation of a peaceful world united as one family under God's love. And then for those who are involved in the serious blessing process, especially if it's their marriage, then invited to participate in a 40-day separation period, which is very interesting. So it's not just the ceremony itself, but it's really renewing our love and making our love for God paramount and our love for each other then very sacrosanct and beautiful and holy. So this is where husband and wife put God first and live, for that time as brother and sister. And then there's a 3-day ceremony at the end of that time to renew their love relationship as husband and wife. And, that's for anybody who's interested. You can ask about that. So it's really the people that I've led through this process have all had profound experience of coming to totally renew their love and their relationship as husband and wife, or to bond together as a husband and wife if it's their wedding. And it's very profound. So it's over time, and it's just a beginning. And based on that is a whole tradition. We call it the blessed family tradition, really. And that means establishing faith in a very workable, realistic way in the home. If you're not doing that already, many of you, I'm sure, are doing that. And I just encourage you to keep going. So it's faith, home-based kind of faith. You may then, of course, be involved with your local faith community or gurdwara or mosque or a church or whatever you're going to. And we have also blessed family associations. So to keep kind of, especially from these larger blessings, it's like an alumni of those blessings. And we can keep in touch and celebrate that day together and do something. So that's very meaningful. We also have courses on marriage preparation, especially for young people. That's also something which just isn't provided in schools or anywhere else. And We have workshops for children to help them develop good brother-sister relationships as a foundation for being responsible adults, and supporting couples in family life, various programs and initiatives which some people are very much involved with, like our distinguished brother here. This is Stephen Stacey. I think he is very much involved in that kind of education work as an author and educator, and contributing to public life, encouraging that aspect of going beyond the family. And therefore, this blessing tradition can multiply way beyond just the occasion of receiving that blessing, to be a way of life and something where we can really dwell together with God, and to be a source of true love for others. So thank you very much, everybody. I'm going to end there and conclude my talk. Thank you. God bless you.
Isn't that wonderful? I would like to move promptly into the next stage. We need to a little bit of changing on the stage, but I'd like to welcome and introduce my pastor. He's Reverend William Haynes. And William is here with his wife Ruth, I think is just outside. There's Ruth. And they're going to, particularly William is going to guide us in the next stage of this afternoon, in the ceremony that Reverend Dr. David Hanna has introduced and explained. So just 1 second while we change around the stage, and then we can welcome William to the stage. Thank you. So could we also, maybe I'll wait 1 second. Oh, it's okay. Don't worry about it. Can I? This one and this one. Wow.
that okay? David, is that okay? So, hello, good afternoon, everyone. So, gathered together today for this interfaith, got my pages right here, interfaith peace blessing that David was talking about. My wife sometimes says to me, we got married in 1982, actually the same blessing that David and Kyung-jo are at, and then we got married again afterwards in the Church of England. And from time to time, my wife says to me, I want to get married again. And I always say, who to? You, of course. So she enjoyed the blessing and the marriage ceremonies and renewal of marriage vows over and over again, many, many times. Well, not many, many times, but quite a few times, very, very much. And it creates like a new memory, a new beginning within one's lives. And more and more, many different faith traditions, as David said, people are starting to do that, going back and wanting to think about why they started on this part of their life and how they want to renew it for the future. And so that's part of what this is about. And bringing together people from many different faiths, many different backgrounds, and I can see here many different nationalities, and to bring together this kind of peaceful environment and create a better world in which to live. So, as Robin said, my name is William Haynes. My wife here is Ruth, so she'll be sitting there making sure I get it correct and reminding me afterwards if I don't. And then, so it's a great honour, a joy and great honour to be invited here to guide this interfaith peace blessing. It's actually going to be officiated by David and Patricia Earle, who will come from Birmingham, and they're going to come along and they're going to sit in these chairs here. I forgot to tell them that. And they're going to anyway, it's great. They'll be officiating over the parts that David talked about earlier, and it's always good for them to be able to sit there and they can look at your faces. There's nothing more joyful than looking at the faces of every single person here and bringing back many memories of places I've been to myself in the past. So David and Patricia, would you like to come and sit here? So now that they sat down, I'm going to invite them to offer the first prayer, which means they have to stand up again.
Good afternoon. Let us pray. Our loving God, we thank you that we can gather together to renew the blessing you have bestowed on these married couples from a variety of different faiths and backgrounds, and also to bless with your grace anyone here who is not married. We invite you to be with us today on this happy occasion, and through this ceremony to bring peace to individual hearts, to couples, to families, to community, to society, and to nation. Amen. Amen. Thank you.
So we gathered here today in the presence of God to celebrate the renewal of the marriages of these couples and to pray for God's blessing on them and to share their joy and celebrate their love. The gift of marriage brings together a husband and wife in the delightful and tenderness of sexual union and joyful commitment to the end of their lives. The purpose of marriage is to bring into oneness the realm of the heart of one man representing the world of masculinity and one woman representing the world of femininity, so they may perfect the love between a man and a woman. Now tell me, is the realm of masculinity different or the same as the realm of femininity? Different, isn't it? When you got married, did you find that your person who you got married to is a mystery in many ways? Yes, it is. And there's a great thing about it being a mystery, because at the end of the day, you can never get to the bottom of this person. So that's what makes eternity bearable. I can never get to know this person inside out. There's always something deeper, something more mysterious there as we come to engage these two different realms, these two different worlds, and bring them together. So marriage is a path by which we seek true love. It's a path to creating life And it's also the path in which the lineages of a man and a woman are commingled. So I'm sure you're, like everybody, you come from different backgrounds, different lineages, different ways of doing things. And I have friends who come from different nationalities, and they're a bit shocked because they think, well, you know, this person who I married, he's not behaving as I expected a husband to behave, or as expecting a wife to behave, because we come from different nationalities, different traditions, different backgrounds. And so it means that we have to learn a huge amount. And that's why, as David said, family is a school of love. We're learning how to love and get to know people who we never got to know and to love before. It is given us for the foundation of family life, in which children are born and nurtured, in which each member of the family, in good times as well as in bad, may find strength, companionship, and comfort, and grow it to maturity and love. A place to experience and perfect the love of husband and wife, the love of parents for their children, and of children for their parents, and of siblings for each other. This expands to embrace and bring peace to the community and beyond. And of course, we can choose our friends. We can't choose our brothers and sisters. It's that different kind of relationship. Marriage is a way of life made holy by God. Marriage is a sign of unity and loyalty, which all should uphold and honor. It enriches society and strengthens community. These couples who are here today are to renew this way of life that makes solemn vows to each other. We pray with them that God will guide and strengthen them, and they will fulfill God's purpose for the rest of their earthly lives together. So we're going to have a poem read by... Thank you, Margaret, for filling me in. Thank you very much. It's a very well-known poem by Khalil Gibran from...
Hello, everyone. On Marriage by Khalil Gibran. You were born together, and together you shall be forevermore. You shall be together when the white wings of death scatter your days. Yes, you shall be together even in the silent memory of God. But let there be spaces in your togetherness, and let the winds of heaven dance between you. Love one another, but make not a bond of love. Let it rather be a moving sea between the shores of your souls. Fill each other's cup, but drink not from one cup. Give one another of your bread, but eat not from the same loaf. Sing and dance together and be joyous. But each one of you be alone. Even as the strings of a lute are alone, though they quiver with the same music. Give your hearts, but not in each other's keeping. For only the hand of life can contain your hearts and stand together, yet not too near together. For the pillars of the temple stand apart, and the oak tree and the cypress grow, not in each other's shadows. Thank you.
Yes, together is one of my wife's favorite words. The other favorite word is communication. And I'm sure there's nobody here, especially the ladies, who will disagree with that. So we've all made mistakes in our lives, all of us. So this ceremony is also a day for forgiveness for anything we did wrong in the past. So it's good to reflect upon life up until this point and say sorry for anything we regret doing or not doing, and determine not to make such mistakes ever again. In all religions, water is a symbol of life. It is also used for cleansing and for purification. Through the sprinkling of this water which has been blessed, may you receive God's sanctifying grace, and may all evil be banished, and only the pure intentions of the heart remain. So if you'd like to receive this water, as David talked about, would you like to stand up? And then somebody will come around and sprinkle a little bit of water at you. So if you want to receive a little blessing of grace of this blessed water, unfortunately I'm very sorry to say we weren't able to get it from downtown. When you come to the front, you'll see. Okay, please be seated. So, a man should know that his wife is God's daughter and represents the feminine aspect of humanity, and so should be treasured and treated with the utmost respect. Anybody here like to be treated and treasured? Yes. A woman should know that her husband is God's son, that represents the masculine aspect of humanity, and so to also be treasured and treated with the utmost respect. St. Paul in the Bible said, each man should have his own wife, and each woman her own husband. The husband should fulfill his marital duty to his wife, and likewise the wife to her husband. The wife's body does not belong to her alone, but also to her husband. And in the same way, the husband's body does not belong to him alone, but also to his wife. So because historically there has been abuse within families, this ceremony is to liberate men and women in our lineages from resentment, and for the couple to promise to treat each other with the utmost respect and never to hit or hurt each other again. So I'd like to invite all husbands to say to their wives, if their wives are here, I'm sorry if I've hurt you in any way, and I promise never to do so again. And then in response, the wife can say, I forgive you. And then the wife can say, I'm sorry if I've hurt you in any way, and I promise never to do so again. And the husband in response can say, I forgive you. So if you're here as a couple, would you just like to do that with your spouse? Thank you. So we'll now move on to the Holy Nectar ceremony. So God created men and women as his sons and daughters to become true husbands and wives, and to create happy families based on the pure and unselfish love. through the Holy Nectar ceremony instituted by Father and Mother Moon. The couple will reaffirm their lineage and identity as a son and daughter of God. They will share a glass of nectar representing the way the two lineages and families have joined together through their marriage. So, if a wife is given a glass of nectar, she drinks half and then passes it to her husband. He drinks the remainder and then passes it back to her, and she'll give it to the attendants. For those who are absent or have an ascended spouse who's now in the spiritual world, drink the first half as the wife or thinking of the wife, and then drink the second half as the husband or thinking of the husband. And if you're here as an individual, you can also take a glass of nectar as you'll reaffirm your relationship with God. And if you're here with children, they can take a separate glass to share. So the officiators, that's David and Patricia, will now go through the ceremony with a representative couple on the stage. And beautiful family from Brazil. You're facing each other. Facing each other, yeah. Okay. Okay. Do you yeah, no, I agree with that. It should have passed out the wine afterwards. So, yeah. Well, when all the nectar has been passed out, then they'll demonstrate how to go through the ceremony, the ritual ceremony. Just a second, almost there. Okay, so if everybody would like to watch what's going on the stage, just to remind you of the words that I said, so you know what to do when we all do it together. The wife drinks half first, and gives it to the husband. The bow, it says, drinks the other half. You need to finish it. It's only juice, don't worry. And then give it back to your wife. And she passes it to the attendant. And then, you can give it to her. I don't want it. Thank you very much. Thank you. Sorry? Just a second. Wait till they sit down. Okay, so now everyone will do this together. First, the wife drinks half, and then bows and gives it to her husband. Bows, drinks the other half, and gives it back to his wife. And then the attendants will come and pick them up.
What do we do if we don't have
Well, no, I said if you're not married, don't have a husband, just drink it by yourself and just say it.
Just if
And receive God's grace for you. I said that already. Yeah, so if your husband or your wife is not here, then when you're drinking it, the first time drink half representing your wife, or if you are the wife, yourself, and then drink the second half representing your husband, or if you are the husband, it's yourself. And if you're a widow or widower, then do the same thing, but just representing your spouse who's already in the spiritual world. Not working very well? Okay. Okay. Good. Okay, so now move on to the next stage, which is about with the vows. So the vows you're about to take are to be made in the presence of God, who is a judge of all and knows the secrets of our heart. So the officiators, David and Patricia, will now lead us in saying the vows together. The first as an individual, and the second as a couple.
So we can say the first promise individually, and then couples can say the second paragraph. I promise to do my utmost to develop a heart of true, unconditional love, and to live in harmony with the highest ideals, values, and virtues of my own faith tradition. And for couples, as a couple, we promise to be eternally faithful to one another, to raise any children entrusted to our care, to be people of integrity, and to extend heaven's blessings to our community and nation, contributing to the creation of a peaceful world, united as one family under God's love. Thank you.
So all couples have now recommitted themselves to holy marriage, and of course all those of you who are here as individuals have committed yourself to living a good spiritual and moral life. They pledge their continued faithfulness to each other and the eternal nature of their love for one another. Oh, yeah. Everyone here as an individual is also recommitted to living a moral life and to leave the world a better place than they found it. We'll now invite the officiators to pray and to invoke God's blessing on you all. So as a couple, please face each other, stand, face each other, and hold your hands during the prayer. So if you could all stand, everybody could stand up. If you're here with as a couple, please face each other and hold each other's hands.
Just to say, we've held this blessing in Birmingham in mosques, churches, Hindu temples, very many places. But I would say this is as good as any. It's so beautiful to see everybody here. So let's just join together in a word of prayer. Loving God, author of each one of our lives, creator of this family of one family of humanity that we represent here today in so many ways. Thank you for the fact that we could come together, that each of us has made the effort to be here. And we're so grateful when we think about the world at large, in desperate need of peace, healing, and reconciliation. We want to make this offering to you today, representing so many cultures and races and ethnicities and our different faith traditions in such a beautiful way for this solemn but joyful ceremony to apologize for mistakes we've made in the past, but together to make a new beginning, which is personal, individually and as couples, but also very public in the fact that we represent so many of our world. Thank you for this opportunity. We really appreciate one another, and we pray that this day will make a new beginning for each one of us. And when you look down on our gathering here in London today, it can bring a glimmer of hope in what is sometimes a very dark world. Thank you so much. We want to offer this blessing now and pray all of this together in your holy name. Amen. Amen.
Amen.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. So please be seated. So Betty Rodriguez is now going to sing a congratulatory song. And after that, we will cut the celebratory cake.
Good afternoon, everyone. Congratulations. I'm so happy to see everyone make these beautiful vows and recommitment and make a new start in your relationship as families. And I'd love to sing a song called Love's Philosophy with words by Shelley and composed by Roger Quilter. And it's all about the awesomeness of nature and recognizing that, well, I think I'm interpreting it as man and woman are the pinnacle of God's creation, and especially as husband and wife reflecting God and creating beautiful children and beautiful families is really like getting as close to God's heart as we can be, reflecting God's love. And so I'd love to sing this for you. The fountains mingle with the river, and the rivers with the ocean. The winds of heaven mix forever with a sweet emotion. Nothing in the world is single, all things by a law divine, in one another's being mingle. Why not I with thine, not I with thine? See the mountains kiss high heaven, and the waves clasp one another. No sister flower would be forgiven if it disdained his brother. And the sunlight clasps the earth, and the moonbeams kiss the sea. What are all these kissings worth if thou kiss not me? So I hope you enjoy a lot of affection and love in your couples and in your families. And if there's time for one more song, I can sing. Spring Song of Eden. And if you know it, please join in. Picture a beautiful garden, the Garden of Eden. To the Garden of Eden, where the spring blossoms are best, joyfully singing together our song, friends in our Eden regain. Here in the garden together we'll meet, delight, joyfully dancing together with song, friends in our Eden regain. Here in the garden together we'll dance, singing you songs of joy. Come, O ye friends, to the Garden of Eden, where joy and happiness reign. Joyfully sharing together our love, here in the Garden of Peace. Come, ye, oh come to the garden, my friends, singing you songs of joy. Thank you. I hope we can all be friends now. Come, friends, let's enjoy, let's celebrate. And I'd love to get to know each one of you and know about your story and how you met and your families. So, yes, look forward to meeting you and talking more. Thank you.
Yeah, I'm glad she gave an encore. I was going to ask her if she could do an encore, because I'm sure it's a lot more fun than listening to me. Okay, so we're now going to cut the celebratory cake. And I'm going to invite Kostas and Lana Cabellas and Imam and Mrs. Amna Pirzada to come up and cut it. So I assume there's a knife. Oh, there is. Okay. So there's 4 hands around 1 knife. It's going to be a bit of a squash. Oh, I got 2 knives. Okay. Yeah, it's probably. I'm just facing that way. It's probably easy. One does it this way, one does it that way. Thank you. So we'll now have a break. How long's the break for, Margaret?
10, you said, but there's also a toilet.
Okay, so 15, 20-minute break, yeah.
Not 20.
Well, come on, there's so many people here. Just think how long the toilet queue is going to be.
So if we can be back here in 15 minutes. Thank you, everyone. There is a toilet upstairs for people who can't go to the basement. There are toilets otherwise in the basement. Thank you. So yes, 10 to 4. Thank you. Oh, I see. Ladies and gentlemen, can I have your attention? Thank you. So, we wanted to start off with something which is a little different. I don't know if you've ever heard of Mark Grungor. Maybe not. Mark Grungor, he gives advice. He teaches about men and women's relationship, husband and wife relationships. And I guarantee you'll enjoy this. So let's play A Tale of Two Brains. Men's brain and women's brains. Let's see if it uploads. There we go.
We're going to start discussing
Laugh your way to a better marriage.
very different from each other. Now, I want to start with men's brains. All right. Now, men's brains are very unique. Men's brains are made up of little boxes, and we have a box for everything. We've got a box for the car. We've got a box for the money. We've got a box for the job. We've got a box for you. We've got a box for the kids. We've got a box for your mother somewhere in the basement. We got boxes everywhere. And the rule is, the boxes don't touch. When a man discusses a particular subject, we go to that particular box, we pull that box out, we open the box, we discuss only what is in that box. All right? And then we close the box and put it away, being very, very careful not to touch any other boxes. Now, women's brains are very, very different from men's brains. Women's brains are made up of a big ball of wire. And everything is connected to everything. The money's connected to the car, and the car's connected to your job, and your kids are connected to your mother, and everything's connected to everything. It's like... It's like the internet superhighway, okay? And it's all driven by energy that we call emotion. And it's one of the reasons why women tend to remember everything. Because if you take an event and you connect it to an emotion, it burns in your memory and you can remember it forever. The same thing happens for men. It just doesn't happen very often. Now, men, we have a box in our brain that most women are not aware of. This particular box has nothing in it. In fact, we call it the nothing box. And of all the boxes a man has in his brain, the nothing box is our favorite box. If a man has a chance, he'll go to his nothing box every time. That's why a man can do something seemingly completely brain dead for hours on end. You know, like fishing. And we love it. That's why a guy can sit in front of a TV and go. It glows. You know, women can't do it. They can't do it. Their minds never stop. And they don't understand the nothing box. And it drives them crazy. Because nothing drives a woman more crazy or makes her feel more irritated than to witness a man doing nothing. Now, one of the biggest revelations I get out of women is this whole nothing box issue. They just, everything's starting to make sense. And I've had women say, oh, it's nothing. Well, can I go in his nothing box with him? No! Why not? Because then it's something. Now, this handles the way men and women handle stress. Okay? When a man is stressed out, all he wants to do is run to his nothing box. This is how we unwind. The last thing we want to do when we're stressed out is talk about it. We don't want to talk about it. We just want to. Of course, it just drives her nuts, you know. A woman will see a man in that vegetative state and she'll come up and go, "What you thinking about?" Nothing. We gotta be thinking about something. No, I was thinking about nothing. In fact, I was on a roll till you showed up. Go away. All right? Because that's how he handles stress. He just. Now, when a woman is stressed out, she has to talk about it. If she doesn't talk about it, her brain will literally explode. So she'll start just, I don't know, might have something to do with this. No, I'm going to have to do that. You know, I never thought about this. My brother over here said to me, and I know men who run from their wives when they do this. They do. I say, well, why do you run from her? He says, because I don't know what to tell her. I said, dear God, man, who told you to tell her anything? She wants you to tell her anything. See, a lot of guys, they feel obligated when you start explaining all your stress, they feel obligated to fix you. Right? Because that's what a man does. A man only tells his troubles to another man in hopes that that man will help fix it. Okay? But she's not a man. And you try and fix her, she's gonna kill you. Alright? She doesn't want your advice. She doesn't want your help. She wants you to shut up and listen. And a couple of ladies, that's right, you tell him. Tell him to shut up. They like that. Now, I had one guy tell me, he said, man, if she just tell me how she feels. I said, she doesn't know yet. He said, what do you mean? So that's how she figures out how she feels, by connecting this wire to that wire, this wire, and so. Now, because they love each other, they offer to each other their answer, their solution. A man senses his wife is stressed out. He loves the girl. He offers to the girl his best and finest solution. Or just quit talking about it. Just quit thinking about it. Yeah. And that's when she starts reaching for the knives and stuff. But she's going to stab you if you keep it up, okay? Now, a woman, she senses her husband's all stressed out. She loves him. Therefore, she offers to him her best and finest solution. Talk to me. Go away. He doesn't want to talk to you. Leave him alone. He will not die. He's not a woman. All right? I know you've got to talk it through or you're going to be twisted inside. He's not like that. Leave the boy alone. You tell he's stressed out, just let him go to his nothing box. Just stay away.
So I like his lectures or his presentations. They're funny, but they draw out very basic points. There's an element there you can connect with. I'd like to invite up Stephen Stacey. Stephen is also a family and relationship expert and many other things. He's been married for 43 years and has 4 children. He graduated from university with a Master of Divinity. For 10 years, he lectured at various universities in Finland on themes connected to personal development. He looked at themes such as cross-cultural competencies, employee development, and marriage enrichment. He has developed 2 different marriage education courses, one focusing on self-improvement in marriage, and another looking on how couples can work better together as a team. Recently, he has authored a book entitled 7 Principles of Creation Marriage Enrichment Workbook. So please welcome Stephen Stacey.
Hello, everyone. Hi. It's wonderful to see you here, all of you. Thank you so much, Robin, for inviting us all here today. And Margaret has worked tirelessly, and others too. And David gave a wonderful talk. But I really want to appreciate the couples that came here today, because trying to build marriage in this difficult world, a complicated world, it's just such a beautiful thing to see. Can I take this out, or is it going to break? Is it very loose? Okay. Yeah. Anyway, I was married again, like David. I was married blessed in 1982. So I'm 43-year-old young man. Young married man, you know. But before I met the movement and Reverend Moon's work, I'd been in several failed relationships. In other words, although I had good parents, I really didn't understand how you build this long-term relationship. Anyway, I got blessed to this lovely Polish woman. She was living in communist Poland, and I was living in England, and we got married, which is amazing. I grew up in a very quiet household. My parents never argued in front of me. And she grew up in a very Polish household where all emotions are expressed all the time. Anyway, so we're very different. But anyway, so I knew that I was a miserable, we call in Christianity, sinner. God sometimes called me, you miserable worm. Because I knew I didn't really know how to do this well. So anyway, I studied, Reverend Moon, he loves to talk about true love, and true love here. Even to scientists, he'll be at a conference and he'll suddenly go, true love and romance and things like this. Anyway, I studied his talks and things like that, and something became very clear to me, that love cannot just exist in a vacuum. The feeling of love can't just exist by itself. And he said everything exists in a pair. So protons, electrons exist together, and they generate energy, and they they make an atom, and husband and wife, they exist in a pair, and they generate energy, and they make a family and society. And so love can't exist by itself, because it just can't. It has to have something on the other side. So what's the pair of love? What's the pair of love? What's its complement? Huh? Maybe. Reverend Moon says beauty. Love and beauty. And so I thought, okay, well, that means to me, I have to find the beauty in my wife every day, and then I can stay in love with her. And that sounded sensible to me. So I thought, okay, so then I went out, because I wasn't very, and then I wasn't very good at seeing the beauty in people. My dad was a very critical person, and I could see the weaknesses in people far more easily than I could see their beauty. It was such a pain. So I studied Reverend Moon's words some more, and he said, well, you've got to learn to appreciate. You've got to learn to appreciate the beauty. So then I said, okay, that's what I got to do. So I got up every morning, and for 40 days, I went out and prayed for 40 minutes to see the beauty in my wife. I said, I've got to really appreciate this stuff. So I developed, all kinds of things to appreciate. She's growing up in poverty, but she's trying to do her best and became a university student. She's trying to be a good teacher. She's got she's very honest and open. She's got some beautiful qualities, really nice qualities and gifts. She can laugh and as time went on, I got this big Rolodex of things to appreciate in my wife. I said, I got this every morning. And then I carried on practicing that every morning, 3 minutes in the morning before I wake up. What are the beautiful things in my wife? What do I appreciate in her? And then I'm ready to go in the day, and I say, good morning, darling. And I'm in love. Because love and beauty, compliments. So there's lots of different kinds of beauty. There's the beauty of her honesty, the truthfulness, the beauty of her character, the goodness she's trying to give. She's beautiful as well. And she gets more beautiful every year, to be honest, really. When I married her, she had a beautiful communist hairstyle. And she grew up in poverty. She only wore the cheapest things, and now she dresses very nicely. I'm very proud of her. So anyway, so I practice every day. I still do that, and I wake up, and every morning we do a hug, and we have traditions in our house. And so when she comes back home, it's a special dog wag or, something like this, to say, I appreciate you. I see the beauty in what you're trying to do. I express that every day, because I said, because Reverend said the only way God comes down is through love and beauty. Everywhere. So God can only come down because God is God of love. Yeah? And he wants to see beauty in us. And if he didn't see beauty in us, then it's difficult for him to love. So I got this. I got a Rolodex of beauty, things I'm really proud of in my wife, the beauty in my wife. I've learned to appreciate her. I've got this feeling of love. Oh, good. But of course it doesn't work like that. Eventually, all this emotions come up. Emotions, like when she wants to talk about things, a lot of emotions come up. And I'm an Englishman who grew up in a quiet family, and I was like this guy over here going, oh no, what do I do with this emotion, What do I do with it? And I used to go and hide and run away, this is too intense for me. But of course it doesn't work. It doesn't work. And so over the years, I had to learn different methods to try to deal with this, okay? So one of the first things I learned is I have to stop this before it starts. So I got a whole range of tools now. So when she comes with her emotions and they're over the top, I have a whole range of tools to stop it getting over the top. So I don't feel like we've just had a row. So I have a whole range of different methods now. Sometimes when she likes in the morning just to feel a little argument. She's just like, she wants to feel alive, So when she comes into the sitting room and sitting there and she starts it, I say, did you pay for the 10-minute argument or the full half-hour one? And of course that bursts into laughter and it breaks down And sometimes I know I've done something wrong, so when she's kind of upset with me, I will actually bow down to her. And I say, I'm such a miserable worm. I'm so sorry. I really am so sorry. And it stops her because in her eyes I'm not really a worm. Not completely. So if I put myself lower than she sees me, she stops trying to be upset with me and say, no, I got to lift you up a bit because, and that brings positivity in, And I learned all kinds of methods to stop the argument getting out of control so we could get back into love and beauty. Because I love love and beauty. It's so lovely place. Sometimes for about 3 or 4 weeks, I'm just so in love with this woman. And then sometimes she just throws me a new one. And I don't know how to deal with it. And I go, oh no, I haven't got that one. And then I have to practice. What if she does that again? How do I stop it from me walking away? Because I love being in love and beauty. Seeing her goodness and her wonderfulness and being totally in love with her. Now, there are all kinds of things, so I had to learn these things. And then the next thing I had to learn, because I wasn't very forgiving, I had nothing, almost no forgiveness skills. That's one of the reasons why I kept on breaking up beforehand, because when things went wrong, I didn't know how to forgive. So I had to learn all kinds of forgiveness skills. So some of the things I did was, I'm going to externalize this. Externalize it. In other words, she had a hard day. She's tired. She's hungry. She's just dealt with 4 kids. It's not her. Or I can place it on her grandmother. Externalize. Oh, she grew up in a tough family and difficult family. It's grandma. It's not her. Sometimes I said, oh, I do the same thing. And why should I get upset if I do the same thing? And sometimes, so I developed a whole range of different forgiveness. So why? Because I wanted to get back into love and beauty as quickly as possible. And I got quite good at it. So I said, well, I know in 3 days I will forgive her. So why don't I forgive her in half a day? And then, okay, I can do that. And then I said, well, I can forgive her in half a day. I can forgive her in 2 hours. And then after some time, I can do it in 1 hour. And after 1 hour, there's nothing there. So if whatever happens now, it usually kind of like just goes. And sometimes I pretend. I just pretend I'm upset, that she's kind of overstepped the borders. I'm not acceptable in my home, But underneath it all, I've already forgiven her. Because I got to just kind of like let her know that sometimes it's not acceptable. So time's up. But you want to be, all the couples out there, and all of you, how to get into love and beauty. And you can only get there from constant appreciation of the person who you're married to and blessed to. Thank you. So I wrote this book recently. It's a workbook, and it's some of the principles of keeping marriage going. So.
That was great, huh? I'd like to invite Dr. Wali Islam. He's a founding vice president, a global vice president of Sun Moon University, which was founded by our founders in Korea. He's also, I would say, a founding ambassador for peace in Australia. So Many of you are ambassadors for peace, I think. And amongst the ambassadors for peace, some have been ambassadors for peace 5 years, some 1 or 2 years. Those who have been around for 25 years are more rare. So really want to appreciate Dr. Wali Izam. Thank you.
Good afternoon, everyone. It's nice seeing you all together. Although I am traveling from Australia, I am a part of you all. We always transcend the barriers of culture, geographical distances, etc., and feel ourselves as part of civilization and humanity. That is one of the core teachings of Mother and Father Moons. By saying that all of us are one family under God, and we all are for one another. Now, given the family matters that has been discussed today quite profoundly, I believe we can have better families from now on if we each stick to the principles. To me, I'm a medical doctor, and I come from Islamic faith. To me, a family starts when a woman feels that I have conceived. That's when a family starts. And as the days are going, and that's, by the way, if you are coming from Islamic faith, that's the first revelation from Allah or God to Prophet Muhammad talking about that point. Khalaq al-insana min alaq. And the Prophet had no idea what Allah is talking about. The starting point of a family when a woman is conceived. I'm not going into detail, but contrary to many people's belief, in Islam, women are given much more value, credibility than men themselves. Not sometimes. Not sometimes. I'm talking about by God, not by people like us. God has given that all the time. Just an example. When someone came to Prophet Muhammad, who should I love or respect more? My father or mother? Mother. Your mother. And then your mother. And then your mother. And few times some people say, yes, now your father's turn comes. So how much do you feel that? Now, in respect of different things I thought, to me, 3 core principles of a good relationship. What is that relationship between husband and wife, friends, siblings, whoever, doesn't matter. 3 core principles. If at least 2 of them are not there, the relationship is vulnerable. The relationship may not sustain. Firstly, is mutual trust. I emphasize the word mutual. It's the mutual trust. Then, mutual respect. When I am talking to my own 1-day-old child, I'm not talking to my child. I'm talking to my another human like me. Allah has given that as a responsibility to me. So I'm talking to another human like that. Forget about when adults are married. Why we can't respect each other as humans? And third, mutual love. A lot has been talked about love. In my culture, love is often misrepresented, misunderstood. For example, if I go to her and say, I love you, or his wife, in fact, my sister, I love you. Oh, what are you talking about? It says comes. But the best example of love is mother and child. I simply say that I love you means I always want to do good things for you. And I would never do anything that would harm you, give you stress. That's the definition of love to me. And the best example is mother and child. Whatever the environment, whatever the situation, whatever the crisis, never ever will see a mother who will not come forward to rescue her children, her babies. And without any sense of getting back from the children. Unconditional. So let's see, again, I repeat these three core principles. There are other things: mutual love, mutual respect, and mutual trust. If we can adore these qualities, these virtues in our lives, and actually focus on those, all our relationships will be shining. Thank you very much.
So today we're commemorating 2 UN International Days, right? One is the UN International Day of Families. That's actually on May 15th, but we couldn't do it earlier. The other is the UN Day of Parents, which is actually tomorrow.
Global Day.
So these 2 days are very special, and we thought it would be a wonderful way to appreciate that. And part of that is we would like to really acknowledge exemplary families and ask the people we've nominated to give us a nugget, one core point. What is it? Your one lesson that you would like to teach others, or one lesson that made you work. I know my mum and dad used to try to end all arguments before they went to bed. That was, for them, that was great. That was one of their ways of solving problems in their relationship. But I'm sure each couple has some nugget that they've worked out in their daily and yearly and decades of experience. So who's going to go first?
I'm going to go first.
Okay. So Margaret's going to
Yeah, I'm very happy to say
invite
that
someone.
I really feel that if you have a good family, you have a good life. And if you have a bad family, not everybody will have a good life. So therefore, I have noticed in families some people, and without asking anyone, I'll chose 3 families. So the first one is the biggest family. Now there's much more at home, but there are 10 in number. That is my friend Fungi, who is married to Hartness. Yes, and also he's got 2 children. And we would like to invite them to one side. And because if Fungi is who she is, there must be someone behind mother. So also the mother is another, of course, surname. And so that another group is
Here we go.
maybe
Reverend
this side.
Takawira.
The bigger this side maybe. Maybe this is yours. I just want to say lovely mama. Look at lovely mama. That is, this is the Reverend Alice. Reverend Alice Takagura is this family. No, this one, yeah. You go in the middle there like that, and then you are one real family. But here there's quite a lot of lines, aren't there? Yes. And this is the twin of this, my friend. And he is the twin of a girl, but what she couldn't come because of. She's Esther is.
This is Samuel. Esther couldn't come.
Yeah, Esther couldn't come, and this is the brother of my friend, and that is the nephew. My sister's son. Okay, that's finished. But I just want to say why I chose them. I knew only Fungi a little bit and a little bit more, right? Much more now. And she invited us, Robin, myself, Lorna. Where's Lorna? Yeah, and she's invited us to a big conference she's doing. It was quite big, wasn't it? Yeah. So many people. So I was just watching, you know. Nothing is out of way, you know. Like something, even technical, 1, 2, 3, 4 minutes, finished. You can fix everything. And if people are taking you exactly where you're going to go, but there's hundreds. So I thought, this is not right. There must be something else. Then I found out that all of them, and more, all the family were working in tandem. Amazing, amazing. Spiritually, I was uplifted to see that nobody shouts at anybody. Nobody, you're encouraging each other. That's why you are getting this award today. And please do more. And as Reverend David said, pass it on. Yes. Your skills, pass it on, and make a better community for us. Thank you very much. Robin. Keith, you can come. He's getting an award. Keith to come. Yeah, okay. I know this one. You come too. We need photograph, darling. Which darling is it? Can somebody take a row? This is you. Thank you very much. This is Mama. But we can do more in the future if you can start enough. Yeah, okay. Robin, could you be here? No, I have to be with you. You come here. You come closer. Can we come closer? So. Yeah. So then. I want two minutes. Even less, Mama on you, okay. And or husband, I don't mind too. Why you are like that?
Okay, thank you very much. Can you pass the microphone? Thank you so much. It is a privilege and an honor that we are standing here before you today to receive this recognition, which to us is a big honor. So thank you very much, everyone, and I want to extend my gratitude to the UPF family, the board. We've been working together very well, and I'm very much encouraged that you do see, you do hear, you do observe, and you do support. So thank you very much. So standing here before you, I'll speak, pass on to Mom, and then give my husband to conclude. So that's my husband, Hannes, and our 2 children, Enoch and Alicia. And here is my mom, Reverend Alice Takawira, and my brother, Paul Takawira. He's also a reverend. I also forgot to mention that Hannes is also a reverend. Wow. And that's Samuel. That's my nephew, Paul's son. And that's Rudo. Rudo, give us a wave. That's my nephew, my sister's son, and that's my twin sister. And I will give my mom to speak, But I just want to thank God for how we were raised, and not only to be diligent, to be loving, to serve others. As we all stand here, we're all entrepreneurs. And not just myself, but even Alicia has also her business, including Enoch, and she's 14, he's 20. Samuel is 16, he also has his portfolio of his business. And Rudo also has his flourishing company right now, and including us as parents, and stood before you is 3 generations. So it's something that we are very grateful for. And I'll just pass over to Mom, and she'll speak, and then we'll pass it over to her.
Thank you very much for appreciating us and giving us this award. It's great. I would like to thank God for this is as what they were saying there. My grandfather was a bishop in the Anglican Church. My father also became a bishop in International Church. So myself, I also became a pastor. I was the business lady. So I was helping people in many organizations, like those people who had problems with families. I would go and help them. And that is what I am. I worked with many organizations, helping children, helping ladies how to love their husbands and children, and teach them how to pray and know God. I would wish if all the families will be like this, we'll be in a better world. Thank you, Lord.
So I'm the guy with the compartment, okay? Right, so just to answer the question that has been asked, that if I were to identify the key principles, the first one is actually our faith. We all share faith in God, and I've been raised a Christian from my own side. She's been raised as a Christian from my own side, and obviously when we came together, we have a common shared value, and I would say that's the common denominator. And then when it comes to marriage, we work together, we are in business together. One thing that I've learned, I can't make her me. I hope she's also realized that she can't make me her. So for me, the biggest lesson is that we are different. And it took me longer to actually realize that she could never be and I could never be her. So that's the sort of thing that I would sort of like get everybody to take away from us from a marriage perspective. You know, it's hard when you're working together. We do some consultancy for other businesses, and they say, how do you work together, husband and wife? And I say, we have learned to respect each other's skills. She can't do some of what I can do, and vice versa. So she can't be me, I can't be her. You know, these multiple compartments used to really frustrate me, until I realized that actually I operate in my own way as long as there's love and respect, and some of the things that have been said. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Thank you. Okay, let's go.
Thank you. You're the mama. You're really
Margaret? Okay. Margaret? Oh, yeah.
Number 2.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah. David? From Birmingham. It's really my joy to recommend a very, very beautiful family, Sulihat and Zohir. They are here. They come from Tajikistan, and such a lovely people. So they have 3 children, and also her sister and her daughter. So if you all can come here. And they look so beautiful with that's it. So this is Surya and her beautiful children, and her sister here. Yeah, her sister, we are very close to each other. We are very close to each other. It's really like part of our family now, and they are helping a lot, especially Suliat for my peace activity. So I would like you to ask you, what is the secret of the harmony in your family?
Hello, everyone. Thank you so much. It's a honor for us to be on this stage. We have never imagined to be on this stage, and we feel so much blessed. Thank you so much. The answer to the question is probably we are sharing the same thing. We are too religious inside, and we believe in God, and we think that all goodness that we want for our own family and for our children, all the people should be treated the same as our own family, and we are doing whatever goodness we wish for our family, we wish for others as well. And I'm very grateful and thankful to my husband. So we share the same kind of values, and our children are supporting and sharing the same family values. So we are very privileged, and the secret of that is, I think the secret of a good, happy and healthy family is to have a common understanding, good communication with each other, and share the same common understanding. Sorry for my English, I'm getting emotional now. Having good communication, having the same aim in life, and strive for that goodness, and they would definitely achieve that goodness for themselves and for others they can share it with. And thanks for my sister to making it possible for all of us to come here and to share this valuable moment with all of you. Thank you for everything. Thank you.
So beautiful.
Oh,
Thank you very much.
you.
Thank
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
So much. You did very well.
Thank you.
Hello. I invite Costa's family, and I will tell you why I want to give the award. Please come. Where is Costas? Robin, where is it? Where is Costas? Anyway, Robin will find it. This is Costas and Lana, and also this is Odysseus, a bit difficult, but he is only 17 years old in a bit, and this is the young daughter, Athena. Yeah, they're from, I mean, not there, but he is from in Greece. Yeah.
Greece originally, but
yeah,
more than 28 years.
He is here in this country. Yeah, I'm just only going to tell you why I want. You always talked about the family, that's one thing. But when I understood that his children really listened to them, to mother and father, you know, on this age, you know, 7, 8, you know, 17, 18, you just cannot have that. You know, I've met many families that parents go to somewhere, but they go somewhere else, you know. But when I had this feeling that can you tell us the secret how they can be bonded to you?
There is not
Go on.
Do you want to take
Oh, sorry, Dan.
People, we work in the wellness industry. We don't have any family here, just only us in the UK. People looking for magic formulas. There is no magic formulas. There is no guarantee about anything. Relationships that are dynamic. They depend on a lot of different factors. Even John Gray, who wrote Men from Mars, Women from Venus, the book, he divorced twice. So what is the 3 tips that I can give you? First is have the pure intention that you want the best for the other person. And then magical things can happen. No games or power games. Have the pure intention. Secondly, from Leo Buscaglia book, he said that a tree cannot grow under the shadow of another tree. Everyone, like the other couple mentioned, that everyone is individual. They mentioned, so we need to respect and let them grow with their skills that they have. And the last one, it was one more. I need to take my phone. I make some notes of that. I'll just be honest. I just want to no, it's not a matter of tiredness. It's just important things. And the other thing, I will strongly recommend everyone to do any linguistic programming, at least as a course, because you need to understand people's programs, patterns, because the way they react, you might say something and they react and you might think you've offended, but actually it's just how they respond to that stimulus. And instead of taking personally, you understand it's their programming. So that it will make help not only couples, for the kids. Everyone should do a quality course on neurolinguistic programming to understand how the mind works. So that's the one thing you asked me to say. There was 3. Oh.
Yeah. Hello, everyone. I want to say that my family helped me a lot to get here where I am. They've been helping me through my business. I first started originally with adventures. I climbed Mount Olympus when I was 10 years old. That led me to make some books from year 9. I made 2. A third one is nearly done. My mom helped me make a website, and I'm hoping by next year I'll become more official. And this next year I'm going to be putting a lot more effort into my business. So yeah, and without my family I wouldn't get here where I am today. Thank you.
Yeah, sorry. Can you
It's safe.
Good to see you all.
You just thank you. Sorry?
You can come as well.
I can
Okay. Yeah, he forgets himself.
Excellent.
Okay.
Well done.
Thank you very much.
Okay, now from Birmingham, it's really also our joy to welcome Reverend Wexilian and Simon and their 2 children. This is really a special family. They come from Brazil, and they do amazing work for the community. They do a lot of work. Their church is called Agape Church, and they do so much work with the homeless people. We met, in fact, in a church where I was also distributing things for homeless, and we bond together. So I just want to ask you, what is your secret? Yeah?
Well, as I said before here, there's no secret ingredients. But we'd just like to share that it wasn't always like this. When I met Simone, she asked me out, and she said I was lovely and handsome. She'll tell a different story if I pass the microphone. But when I met Simone, even though we came from Brazil, we met in London, and our background family, it wasn't
very nice, as I say. When I met Simone, she had never felt love from her father. And the language at home, it was just fighting and argument, which my family was just more parents were always busy. But when I decided to marry Simone, when she asked me out, we share the same faith. Even though my parents back then didn't, but when they came to Christianity from Buddhism, then the things started to change at home. I said to my wife, to my father and my dad, which was in Brazil, I said, I found my wife. I phoned them. I said, I'll find my wife and I'm going to get married to her. And my mom was like, okay. So the next day I pray, and when I asked Simone to get married, it was very challenging because the conflict in the first couple of days and the first couple of years getting to know each other. Why I'm sharing this? Because the world out there is not a perfect world, and it is hard as it is. And I come from a transaction of generation which non-technology with technology, and then nowadays everything with the phone, and we don't, most family out there doesn't have time. They have time for everything else, but when it comes to child and kids around the table, it's hard to find. So I told her, I said, when we're gonna have kids, and we're gonna have established 3 principles in our home. Always have lunch or dinner or together with the family around the table. No phone, no nothing. And even though my son has best friends, and my daughter as well, but I told him, who's your best friend? And he always say,
that. I always say that I have no best friends, and the reason why is because I believe personally that if I have a best friend, that could cause conflicts between my friends, and it would cause unfairness, and they will start to believe that I value somebody above somebody else, which I don't.
And eagerly, and I said to him, I want to be, their support. So around the table, we always have this communion. In English, we say communion, and I think that's the right word to say. But this first principle is communion around the table. Always listen to Josh and Janie. I always ask, how is their school? What did they learn? And what they can teach, and so on. What's the challenge they face and everything. And then also we have the other principle is to have something around the living room, because in the living room we watch TV, we play games together, even though I win most of the time, which is not true. But, and then the other principle is to have intimacy. I always spend time with my wife. So 3 times a week I take her out for a coffee, or because a man can go so far if she's there supporting me. Because if she's not there supporting the man, the husband, and the kids, we die, we burn out. That's the fact. So I thank God for everything that He has done. Thank you for inviting us, Patricia. Thank you as well. And it's such a blessing to be here.
You want to hear this one? Thank you so much. Thank you.
Now we'd like to invite Imam Birzada and his wife to come forward. I can't remember exactly when we met for the first time, not too long ago. 2 years ago. And I think some of you know Patricia and myself are very involved in interfaith. And we've met Imam Pirzada and his wife at a very unique series of events in Birmingham where the Anglican Church is liaising and meeting together with imams in the church, in the mosque, in different places. And we're very moved and very impressed by his words, but also his example and his family. And we've become quite close in just a short time, relatively short time of 2 years. And I think he has a lot to share, but we'd like to invite him to just share one piece of wisdom for all of us. Imam Pirzada.
Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim. First of all, I would like to thank you to respect and dearest Margaret, my lovely dear David, our respected sister Patricia, and Mr. Marsh. Let me start from the first of all, the one maybe a lot of people doesn't know about that. When Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, Allah Almighty created the Adam alayhi salam, the Prophet Adam, and then Allah wanted to create someone else, Allah would create another man. Remember about that. Allah created the Hawa, our mother, salamu alayha. And when Allah created the mother, Hawa, that time he was awake, he wanted to touch it. And the Gibrail said no 3 times. No, stop it, stop it. And then the 70,000 angels were participated. They had the ceremony of the marriage. It means that the life starts from there, from the husband and the wife. And a lot of people have a wrong interpretation about the Islam and something. The respected daughter said the most information and orders being given in Quran about the wife. Allah say, وَعَاشِرُهُنَّ بِالْمَعْرُوفِ. Be good to them and talk to them. قَوْلٌ مَعْرُوفًا. Be speak to them. Allah, the very politely. And Allah says, هُنَّ لِبَاسٌ لَكُمْ أَنْتُمْ لِبَاسٌ لَهُنَّ. You are both curtains to each other. And also, I think Ms. Margaret know about this, the Surah number 4, ayat number 56, 57, حُرِّمَتْ عَلَيْكُمُ أُمَّهَاتُكُمْ وَبَنَاتُكُمْ. These are Allah created the relationship, the wife, the mother's wife, the father's, the mother's mother, the father, mother, all these sisters, all created. There is an incident in my life, in our both of life, and that's I want to share with a lot of you, please. Normally in Asian mentality, if there is no children, they pressed by the parents to marry again, to marry again, to marry again. I got both knowledges. I'm sorry for my wife, but I asked her I will say about this. I got medical education as well as a geriatrician. I'm an MD doctor and a PhD scholarship from the University of Makkah, interfaith as well. I got 4 masters in the different educations. We've been married 2000. And it was the month of the Hajj after the marriage, 2 months after. So we've been invited to go to Hajj. And during the Hajj, the last day, we finished our ritual, we came to our camp, and we heard that there are maybe some stabbing or some hurdles for the other families. So we both gone together there to help the families on the floor and something, whatever happens there, because of the gathering is every year more than 2 millions. When she was helping a lady, the people pushed her, and that time she was married for 2 months. And we lost our baby because of that. She was in Riyadh hospital for 2 months. We returned. Time was going, and then as usual, rumors gone. Let you marry again. Let you marry again. I came to my father and I simply said, Father, you gave me the education. I got the education about the marriages and all that. What is the point? And my mother and father took her in her hug and said, my son, if you want to marry, go marry. She is our daughter. And the second thing is, my father said, is there any guarantee with the second wife will get the children? Is the guarantee will get with the third the children? So Alhamdulillah, with the grace and the blessing of Allah Almighty, we live together. And I tell you now, and this is the example. And I give a very another one, important. My wife never sent a 24 life sorry. I always say sorry to her. This is true. Because I told her, I work for others and you work for me. So you are my heart secretary. That's true, inshallah ta'ala. And I give this exemplary to all the Muslim families. Sometimes, let me tell again the Muslim families in Asian as well. When you behave like this, people tell you maybe you're living under the skirt of the wife. It is not true, please. It is totally not true. I would like to be, because I'm teaching the people the religion and all these things, I would like to be in my words and action the similar, please. Thank you so much. Thank you again. I also want to please to be with us.
Yes.
I have to take one of you. There we go.
Robin, you go.
Robin?
Thank you.
Thank you very much. Thank you so much.
Okay, the last but not the least, I have Dyer family and Julie and Andrew and very nice name. What's the name? Eliana, daughter. I want to tell them why I chose them. Not just only because of I like Julie a lot. And then when I met her husband, I was so impressed about how they behave together, and also so impressed that they have had two different cultural family, you know? And look at the beauty, what comes out of it. And that's also not only beauty, they have to learn the two cultures and go happy again. That's why I chose you for the third one. And afterwards you have to sing. Now you have to say how you manage this. That's you are Englishman, hardly speaking a lot. There's gur. Not my type of person. And a lovely.
So how? Yeah.
How?
I'm not entirely sure. We manage it somehow, don't we? So I think everyone has come up here and said there's no magic formula, and that's probably true. But then everyone keeps giving lots of sensible advice. So I suppose we should try and do the same. Yeah. You know, as a man and wife, as a family, you see each other at your best, and you see each other sometimes at your worst. You know, so you have to be honest, and there has to be forgiveness, and there has to be love, and a common direction is good, and you know, having children is wonderful. It's a blessing. Not just in itself, but also as a kind of as part of marriage. It's a wonderful thing, and Eliana is certainly our blessing, and yeah, that's just forgiveness, love, common purpose, all those sensible things. Would you like to add anything, my dear?
Sure.
Yes. I'd just like to say, over the 20 years, incidentally, we were married for 20 years, but we met, it was since 22 years, so we've been together 22 years. And the day we met, we started dating that day. Yes, it was. So I just want to say, I think one thing is we forgive each other a lot. Honestly, if you look at, sometimes, I mean, we're just like any other people, but I think both of us were just not willing to bear malice. You know, when it looks like there's no, either he says, oh, do you want to drink? Do you want water or something? And me too, when it's not, because we really don't like keeping malice. Two of us, that incurably, we get it out. And then he's a shock absorber. I think I'm more ta-ta-ta-ta-ta. But I'm also the cheerful one. I don't think he really misses me when I'm not around. And then Eliana, too, has been a very lovely daughter, very, very easy to raise. Very, very, she made it too easy for us. I'll tell you the truth. She's a good girl. very proud of her. You want to say something?
I'd just like to say I'm extremely grateful for my parents, with my air cadets and stuff, my very early mornings and late nights, waking up at sometimes 3, 4 a.m. in the morning to get up, get ready, iron this. Oh gosh, I've forgotten this. Dad, can you come collect this for me, please? Dad, I need this now. All this sort of going up and down. Oh, do you know this form? I need you to sign this now. All this. And then even through that, they're being willing to encourage me through this and to allow me to achieve and thrive within our environment. I'm truly extremely grateful for it.
You have to take a photo. Somebody. Get a good photo. Oh, Keith, you're waiting. There you go. Okay.
Thank you.
All right. We have to hold here for singing, because that's why I put her at the last. She also sings very well. So you want this?
Yes, please. Okay. Hello, all. Good evening again. Thank you. Thank you for the privilege to sing and to receive that award. I'll be singing Colors of the Wind. It's from Pocahontas because it was Family Day. I thought a song from Disney would be nice. And since Colors of the Wind talks about everybody respecting each other, it goes with the ethos of the Peace Federation, Universal Peace Federation, and to look after our environment. So I just chose that song. Thank you. You think I'm an ignorant savage, and you've seen many places. I guess that's Moses' soul, but still I cannot see if the savage one is me. How can there be so much you don't know? You don't know. You think you own whatever land you land on. The earth is just a dead thing you can claim. But I know every rock and tree and creature has a life, has a spirit, has a name. You think the only people who are people are the people who look and think like you. But if you walk the footsteps of a stranger, you'll learn things you never knew, you never knew. Have you heard the wolf cry to the blue corn moon, or ask the grinning bobcat why her green? You can sing with all the voices of the mountain. You can paint with all the colors of the wind. Can you paint with all the colors of the wind? Come run the hidden tendrils of the forest. Come share the sweet berries of the earth. Come roll all the riches all around you, and for once never wonder what they were. The herring and the otter are my brothers. The rainstorm and the river are my friends. And we are all connected to each other in a circle, in a hope that never ends. How high the sycamore grows, if you cut it down, then you'll never know. And you'll never hear blue corn moon, or whether we are white or copper skin. You can sing with all the voices of the mountain, or you can paint with all the colors of the wind. You can own the earth and still all you own is earth, until you can paint with all the colors of the wind.
Karim has, we are preparing Ambassador for Peace Award for ages, but now she was going up and down. Now I said, this day I will definitely be here, and you can also come. And Shahid also spoke the poetry. Yes, please come. Please. She's, I almost thought she was Ambassador for Peace, but we hadn't given it yet.
Thank you, UPF, Margaret, Robin, for my Peace Ambassador Award. As a humanitarian and a Palestinian, I dream of peace and freedom for my people and for all those who are suffering. Peace should not be a distant dream. It is a fundamental right for everyone, everywhere. My own experiences have taught me that pain and hardship are universal, but so is the human capacity for resilience, empathy, and growth. Recent events in the world have not divided us. Rather, they have inspired many to reach out, listen, and stand together for justice and humanity. This unity has become a powerful force for hope. True change begins within each of us. We cannot hope to heal the world if we do not first seek healing and understanding within ourselves. When we nurture empathy and love in our hearts, we become stronger advocates for peace and justice. We become beacons for others, demonstrating that even in the darkest times, hope can be found and shared. In today's world, where conflict and division seem ever present, it is more important than ever to remember our shared humanity. We must never lose sight of the fact that every person, regardless of where they're from, deserves to live in peace, with dignity and freedom. Let us honor each other's stories, support one another's journeys, and work together to build a more compassionate world. Peace is not merely the absence of war. It is the presence of justice, understanding, and love. Let peace be a way of living, spreading love to our families, our communities, and our world. Thank you, everyone. Thank you.
Oh yeah, one of all these ambassadors for peace there.
So we're a global network of peacemakers. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, Robin.
So thank you very much, everyone, for being here to the end. In a sense, we've come a long way. This is, in 3 hours, we've condensed a lot of human experience. And we've sampled a bit of humanity from all over the world. Each continent, I think, if you imagine, we've had South America, we've had Africa, we've had Australia, we've had Asia, we've had a lot of different countries represented here. So thank you so much for all these experiences we could share together. And we wanted to do this to commemorate the International Day of Families and the UN Global Day of Parents. But also we wanted to share the blessing on marriage and on families, because that's also a very special thing to do on this particular day. So I want to wish you all a safe journey home and many blessings. And one more thing, actually, we could do a group photo. So if everyone comes up here, we bring the first row of chairs on the floor, and then we can have like 3 or 4 different levels of people. We can all fit in. So please come up. And before you go, let's stack the chairs at the back. That's the final task before you leave. Thank you. So Raymond will be our photographer.